We'll now move to Nagaraj Paturi ji, and he will speak about how Dharma is essentially an environmentalist idea. Nagaraj Garu, please.
Okay, as I keep saying, uh, this is an in-house speaker. Uh, I am the host. We are organizing this conference, and we have said what we have to say in our very detailed concept note, where we have covered uh, world paganisms, uh, Indic Vedicism, Buddhism, Jainism, folk culture, almost all the components of our Hindu cultural complex. And there are certain areas which probably were not covered inside the concept note, which probably I would have liked to cover in this presentation of myself in the conference. Some of those things are basically how our folk culture is basically an environmentalist folk culture, and that kind of a perspective answers certain questions in Indian history. We keep talking about conflict all the time between two major components of Indic culture, the Aryan and the Dravidian, what they called all the time in Indian history. Let us replace those two terms with Vedic and folk. Even then, they could talk about a conflict between these two. But what we see in the form of our culture, our Hindu culture, is a fusion of these two cultures, Vedic and folk, into what we call Hindu culture. In terms of intercultural, cross-cultural studies that we see so much in management field nowadays, there is a word called third culture. I consider Hinduism to be a third culture that emerged in the communication between Vedic and folk cultures. And inside this folk culture, particularly in this context of Corona, that what I remember is that always people looked at the nature of their village, the environment of their village itself as a woman, as a mother, and worshipped that as a mother goddess, village goddess. And these village goddess studies have been done by all kinds of researchers from their own point of view. But what was missing the attention of people was that nature was worshipped as mother nature, and that mother nature was given the shape of mother goddess, and that was given the shape of great mother, and that's what formed the village goddess. Village itself was the village goddess, or a sacred grove itself was a village goddess, or a certain tree was a village goddess, and so on. So what we see in that folk culture is an intense amount of ecological spirit and ecological consciousness. And as you have seen from the morning, from the different papers from Shiv that there is a very intense ecological perspective on the Vedic side. And it is this basis of common ecological understanding, common ecological awareness, common ecological spirit that gave rise to the fusion of these two cultures into a single culture, into Hindu culture. So this is what is very important for all of us to remember, that uh, as Indians, as Hindus, as Buddhists, as Jains, as folk cultural people, as Indians, what we have to focus more in contemporary studies, contemporary academics, is the ecological spirit inherent in this culture. And once I finished that, because I just wanted to fulfill what was not covered in the concept note about village goddesses and the environmentalist aspects in that, it is a lot more than that can be said in that. I could have talked about how the same mother goddess is an angry mother goddess and a cheerful, pleasant mother goddess, Prasanna and Ugra Rupa, Mother Goddess. And the Corona today is an Ugra Rupa of the Mother Goddess. She is very angry. If you talk to any villager in India, it is exactly what they say, that mother is angry and she has to be now pacified, she has to be appeased, and then she will be cooled down. They exactly use the word cooling down. They use the word cooling down. She has to be cooled down. Once she is cooled down, everything will be all right. So there is that Savitri aspect from a Vedic point of view, that is the fertility aspect of Mother Goddess, and there is that Mahakali aspect of Mother Goddess, the devouring Mother Goddess also. All that is there inherent in the ecological aspects of in the culture, Hindu culture. That combination of the same entity being devouring and fertilizing at the same time. When she is happy, when she is pleasing, she is fertilizing, and when she is angry, she is devouring. And that's how nature is. And these two aspects of nature both are worshipped. That is the point. That is the point in ecology. I could have talked about that, but the topic that I wanted to take up for today is the question of dharma as an environmentalist aspect. What is the issue in this? What is the academic issue in this? When we talk about dharma, uh, we look at dharma as an ethical question. Dharma is ethics for us. And when you go to contemporary international academics about ethics, do you see ethics in general, ethical philosophy in general, which is considered as part of social philosophy in the Western philosophy? Is ecology, is environment included as part of or the basis of the foundation of general ethical philosophy? Is it? No. Let me tell you, no. The most prominent ethical philosophy that we do see today is that of Stuart Mill, John Stuart Mill, and it is also recognized as a utilitarian school of ethical philosophy, and it talks about public good, uh, and that public good is their public means humans, more humans. What is good to more humans and what is not good to less humans is the criterion to decide ethics. Just as the entire Western philosophical outlook has been anthropocentric all the time, just the way it has never considered the other creatures, non human creatures, as the basis of decisions of good or bad, right or wrong, even in the ethical philosophy of the West, you don't see consideration of non human creatures at the center of ethical decisions, at the center of good or bad. Whereas when you say dharma, we blindly translate dharma as ethics, dharmic way of looking at as an ethical way of looking at things. Within Purusharthas, when we translate dharma, we translate that as just ethics. But if we are borrowing that Western word of ethics there, we are not uh, rightly translating dharma because we are not including the non-human aspects of ethical decisions that are included in the definition of dharma that we have in the Indic or Vedic perspective of dharma. This is an important takeaway, in my opinion, for you from the conference. When you go from this conference, please tell everyone that dharma is not just ethics, because only because the Western ethical thinking, Western ethical philosophy was anthropocentric. When environmental awareness started in 60s in the West, and when it grew into a huge amount of literature based on the ethical, what they call environmental crisis, they started talking about what is called as environmental ethics. They required a new paradigm of ethics called environmental ethics. It was not there in the previous paradigm of ethics itself. That is why they required environmental ethics. If you go to jurisprudence, if you go to legal discussions, environmental law is a new law. In the Privy Council decisions, environmental considerations were not part. When jurisprudence was being discussed, when natural justice was being discussed, the considerations, the criteria for natural justice at the time of early discussions in jurisprudence, the decisions were all anthropocentric. Animal rights were not under consideration. Environmental law was to be separately devised. Environmental law was separately to be created historically at a later time. But if you look at Indic literature, whenever they talked about humans or human ethics or whatever, you see the word Bhutani instead of Manushyaha or Naraha or any such. We never said it is all for humans or we are talking about humans. If you look at shlokas like shlokas, you say Annat Bhavanti Bhutani. You never say Annat Bhavanti Manushya. Though actually in the cycle of things, you are going to talk about yajna, and yajna is being performed through karmas, and the karmas are being performed by humans only. But the shloka uses the word Bhutani. Everywhere, repeatedly, you get the word Bhutani, creatures and creatures and creatures. So the attitude, the outlook traditionally has been, right from the beginning, has been looking at human concerns or human benefits or human interests or human ethical decisions, everything as part of uh, all creatures, all living entities. You take any description from, right from the original Rigvedic mantras to Yajurvedic mantras or to the Brahmanas or to the Upanishads, every time it goes to the creatures, it never stops with only human beings. So Dharma was right from the beginning an idea that was an all creature centric, all living things centric, for that matter, all creation centric idea. When Dharma has been defined as uh, that which sustains, that which holds, the very definition of Dharma is that which holds, that which sustains. When did the word sustainable come into discussions? Today we talk about sustainable architecture, sustainable this, sustainable that. When did this word sustain start entering contemporary academic discourse, contemporary activist discourse, contemporary professional discourse? When did it start? Is it not only after people realized about environmental crisis, ecological crisis, and is it not only after they realized that they cannot go to the extreme of ecological awareness, saying they don't want development at all, they don't want technology at all, and they didn't want to be anti-technological, anti-industrial, and they wanted something that compromises, that puts these two perspectives of development and ecological awareness together? Is it not at that time that they got this word sustainable? But the word dharma, the very definition of the word, etymological meaning of the word is that which sustains. So the word, the etymological idea behind the word dharma was reached by the entire Western world only when they realized that they wanted both the sides of the cake to be buttered. They wanted both sides of the coin. They wanted development and ecological awareness at the same time. But you see that the word sustaining and sustenance is part of the very etymological meaning of the word dharma. And when dharma becomes ethics, that ethics now you realize that it is based on the, you can see the various shades of the meaning of the word dharma. For example, dharma is law, dharma is principles, dharma is duty, dharma is feature, dharma is nature, dharma is quality. When I say this is the dharma of peacocks, this is the dharma of sun, it rises in the east, I am talking about nature. This is the nature of dharma. This is the nature of sun, this is the nature of peacock. When I say this is the dharma of father, pitru dharma, bhratru dharma, and all that, I am talking about the duty aspect of dharma. When I say that dharma, when I talk about dharma to be good or bad, I am talking about the ethical aspects. But if you think that all these different shades of the meaning of dharma are completely disconnected, then we are wrong. There has to be some connection, semantic connection. Words do not get their multiple meanings just like that. They don't come all from the blue. They start at some meaning and they go get extended. So, this meaning of the word dharma, that it is nature, and the meaning of the word dharma, that it is duty, have to be connected. All natures of all creatures are their duties. It is the duty of an insect to do what it does, and it is the duty or nature of a thing that eats those insects. It is its duty that it does. It is its nature that it does that. An aquatic animal like a turtle, a tortoise, if it eats insects, it is its nature and it is its duty. All participants in the ecosystem are doing things because it is their nature and it is also their duty. So, nature and duty are so well connected. That is why the various shades of dharma get connected. If you read Itihasa Purana literature, you get instances where a Pishacha argues with a human saying that my duty is to eat corpses. If I am eating corpses, it is not only my nature, sir, it is also my duty to eat them. So it is the duty, if we take pishachas to be some parasites that consume the dead bodies and recycle them into nature, it is the duty of such creatures to do that. And it is also their nature. If you look at the ecosystem, for example, a forest ecosystem, and when we talk about we are realizing that all the levels of food chain have nature of consuming the lower levels of the food chain. That is their nature, and that is also their duty. That's how the forest ecosystem works. So, what is the nature of the person is also a duty of that person. But there comes the question of an anti-ecological behavior, whether that is also nature and duty at the same time. But if you look at all the creatures, all non-human creatures, you see that they are helplessly participating as their duty in the ecological sustenance. So their nature and duty are going together. They have no liberty and they have no interest in spoiling the dharma that is called creation. The disturbance is starting is from human being only. So the disturbance to dharma and the necessity for a dharmic instruction. Both are there only for human being. And that is why Dharma Shastra comes. Dharma Shastra is instructing humans, and when it is instructing humans, it is instructing on the basis of study of nature. That is why natural sciences are becoming the basis of social sciences in Dharma Shastra. To speak from a philosophical point of view, the truth seeking is dharma seeking, because dharma is nothing but law of nature, and it is the truth seeking in natural sciences to find out the natural laws. And when you are binding human actions as human duties towards nature, then you need to understand natural principles of nature. So, understanding principles of nature and arriving at truth, to use the Vedic word, arriving at Satyam, leads you to arrive at Dharma. Dharma. That is why you see these two words going always together in the Vedic philosophy. Satyam and Dharma. Both they go together. Truth and nature. Truth and law. Because we today in natural sciences say that the objective of natural sciences is to find out the truth of natural law, laws of nature. So ultimately, the truth finding is law finding, natural law finding, dharma finding. So satyam finding is dharma finding. So once you find the natural principles of nature through natural sciences, if you make your social sciences and social philosophy based on the natural principles, you're basing your dharma on satya. You're basing your ethics on truth. You're basing your deontological view of ethics, to use the technical term from ethical philosophy. Duty aspect of ethics is called deontological view of ethics. So that deontological view of ethics is connected to the absolutist view of ethics and relative view of ethics and utilitarian view of ethics, or all other aspects of ethics. They're all bound to the basic aspect of truth, basic aspect of natural law or laws of nature. This word has been used in Western philosophy. The word natural law has always been used. It was there in the time of Plato, it was there in the time of Aristotle, that was later borrowed by Hegel in the modern German philosophy. But it is only in the Vedic philosophy that you see the word dharma, which refers to both laws of nature as natural sciences, the truth of natural sciences, truth that is sought after in natural sciences, and also the social instruction, social good and bad, social values, social norms, social customs, social traditions, both of them arising from the same truth finding, satyam finding, and leading to dharma instruction, dharmika instruction, is found in the Vedic philosophy. In the morning, Shivashankarji was talking about rhythm. Uh, Someone in the chat box was also asking a question whether rhythm is connected to ritu in the as referring to seasons and all that. You have these words: ritam varishyami, satyam varishyami, dharmam varishyami, in the Vedic instructions or Vedic mantras, but they always go together. The word ritam, when it has got a negative samasa, nai tatpurusha samasa with it, it becomes anritam. And when it becomes anritam, it refers to uh, opposite of true, lie, false. But When you take the positive side of the word rhythm, it refers to both dharma and satyam at the same time. Dharma and satyam at the same time. So this combination of understanding of the truth of uh, uh, natural investigation or investigation of natural sciences being the basis of ethical decisions is what makes dharma as an environmentalist aspect. It is this which makes dharma alone, no other concept of ethics anywhere in the world, an environmentalist idea. So, Indians, Indic people, Hindus, all the dharmic religion people, all the dharmic tradition people, I think need to be not only cautious and also they need to be proud that when they are using the word dharma, they are using an environmentalist idea. They, for them, environmental law was not a new necessity. Environmentalist ethics, environmental law was part of general law, social law, human law all the time. Environmentalist ethics were part of general ethics, social ethics, human ethics all the time. We had a comprehensive ethics. We had a holistic set of ethics. So, uh, dharma as an idea of so in future, whenever you talk about dharma next time in any other forum or platform, please remember not to translate the word dharma just as just ethics that you hear from outside. Please remember to translate that as an environmentalist ethics idea. So that is the next part of what I wanted to say. But there are a few more topics that were not covered in our concept note. One is you see all over the world today that environmentalist activists uh, focus on the idea of war also. War, anti-war, nuclear disarmament, nuclear holocaust, weapons and weapon destruction of the world and all that is also part of environmentalist discussion. Uh, we could not cover that in the concept note. So we probably could cover this if I get an opportunity in these 2 days. I will again go to that how war and anti-war have been covered in the Veda, right from Rig Veda to Itihasas like Mahabharata and all that, and see how all the environmentalist discussion today all over the world has been very well anticipated and has been given a right foundation as if the whole world was waiting to get an environmentalist message. That was the right, the central spirit of Indic life, Hindu worldview, and Hindu philosophy. That's how it happened. All the environmental crisis and ecological crisis is what made the whole world come to India for guidance because India lived with ecological spirit alone as its central spirit. Thank you.
Wow. What just happened here? I we are just so transfixed, Nagaraj Garu. I mean, I'm just trying to think of some of the cricket matches where suddenly, you see an innings which is like a phenomenal innings and such a magical moment. You just gave us such a magical moment with the way you explained, expounded dharma and made it a environmental idea. I mean, this talk is going to stay with me personally, and I'm sure a lot of people who have listened to this talk, I'm sure it will stay with them too.
Thank you.
I will. So we are really will be grateful to you for this. I will throw this open for Q&A, and anybody, let me look at people who are typing on the chat. If you have any questions, please do so at the Q&A, and I'll just go through.
Arundhati Sundarji was talking about Swadharma. Uh, I think actually when we were connecting nature to duty, that's what we were doing. Swadharma is based on the gunas and karmas of an individual. And if duties are connected to the qualities and activities of a person that are born out of quality, that's what it becomes. So, dharma is always the duty of a person based on his nature. Uh, and at Indic Academy, under the guidance of Harikiran ji, there is a huge program of Swadharma. You are guided towards your Swadharma. Whatever is your Swadharma is identified. You are put to psychometric test, and your Swadharma is identified, and you are given activity for Indic activity, Indic Renaissance based on your Swadharma. Uh, Swadharma is a very, very important concept within this Dharma as environmentalist aspect.
Yeah.
So this extends Swadharma to a hare and a tiger also. It is the tiger Swadharma to eat a hare, and it is the Swadharma of a hare to eat the grass.
So true, Nagaraj Garu. I strongly believe in that. And actually, in our attempts to build the ecosystem, I see a lot of people doing things which are not their Swadharma. So lot of people waste their time on social media. A lot of people do different things. And this is my focus that people should do what they're meant to do. And so in a way, trying to do something which you're not meant to do is actually an ecosystem, anti-environmental idea in that sense. So if people who are listening to it and activists, if the sooner they shift to their own swadharma and contribute to fighting for a dharma, that would be better. That would be an environmentalist idea, actually.
Yeah.
Just to take from your idea. So we'll close for today. We had a fantastic day today. We have 15 speakers tomorrow. We'll start tomorrow morning with Pankaj Jain from Houston, talking about Dharma and ecology. He's done his PhD. He's written a book on that topic. We did a number of talks also for him. He's going to join in. That will be the beginning. And we have a lot of activists also tomorrow. We have, in fact, Indic Academy is working with two of them, Rahul Goswami and Vibha Karmani. We're looking at setting up a center for sustainability with them, and they are going to talk tomorrow afternoon. We had actually worked with Subhendu Sharma in creating a forest here in Hyderabad under the Miyawaki method, and he's going to talk. We're going to have Dr. Tarun Chabra also. He's a very interesting personality who's been introduced to us by Michelle. He is going to talk about Nilgiris and the Toda landscape. He's written a book on that. So we have a wide variety of speakers. We have Edward Butler, who's going to speak on polytheism and ecology, and we have Vishwa's talk on Mahabharata and ecology. You might have heard at Strand. He is also going to speak. Joydeep is going to speak. So we have a number of speakers. Do join in tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And with that, I think we can close the discussion for today. Do you want to say anything else, Nagaraj?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
तच्छंयोरावृणीमहे गातुं यज्ञाय गातुं यज्ञपतये दैवी स्वस्तिरस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जिगातु भेषजम् शं नो अस्तु द्विपदे शं चतुष्पदे ॐ
Om
शान्ति
Shanti
शान्ति
Shanti
शान्तिः